I'm super competitive and I love that feeling of like a challenge or trying something new. My name is Olivia and I've been one of the Femmi run leaders since end of 2021. I played hockey from pretty much age 5 until I finished high school. I come from a very sporty family. We all have played hockey. Having a physical activity is so beneficial for your mind. I think the 1 year that I did nothing, I found it really hard and like had other stuff going on within my gap year, but I think that I didn't have that outlet. I originally was running during the lockdowns in 2020. A lot of it was preparation for hockey because we thought after the first lockdown we'd be back, and then we went into lockdown the second time. And I was like, well, I can't waste this fitness now. And then Femmi popped up and I was like, I might as well, until hockey comes back, I might as well do this. And this will keep me fit and get me strong and gives me something to focus on. So from the get-go, Femmi just seemed to have that community aspect and that focus on connecting each other. When I went back to hockey, I was playing in like the reserves, and we found that when we trained at this specific field in Parkville, that we were given the bad field and the men's team got given the good field. And it was explained as, well, the men are playing in like the first division, you're in the second division. But the minute we got promoted, we were playing in the first division, we were winning games. We still had to train on that bad field. Like that didn't change anything. The men still got the field they wanted. They got the early training times. I finished training at 10:30 some nights and the men were already home. Reflecting on it, that wasn't fair. That was never fair. Good morning, everyone. I think Femmi has been hugely formative and like transformative for me because it has given me a platform to actually get to talk about what I like. Like I've just always loved women's sport because it's always felt reflective of who I am, and it's always felt like it's a potential for me. I've always had these female influencers and these sports stars that I have grown up watching and got to meet them, and it's another aspect. If you can't see it, you can't be it. I caught half of the 2015 Women's World Cup and I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I started going to like the W League, the Women's Cricket World Cup in started 2020, 70,000 people at the MCG for a women's cricket game. It was insane. And the AFLW starting was huge as well, because I love footy. Like I was at the very first game, so it was 25,000 people turned up, they did a complete lockout. But knowing that there was little girls watching who could actually imagine themselves being out there was like, it was incredible. It takes time. It's always going to take time. And it takes money and it takes investment. And I think the Matildas is a really good example of that as well. And in the past 4 years, we've had players go to Europe to play. And we've had equal pay, that the Socceroos and the Matildas have that like share their pay now. And I think that increased pay, that increased attention and the ability for them to be proper well-paid athletes has had such an influence. Like we are showing that women's sport is valued and that we want to see more of it. I think the influence that it has is going to reflect literally across Australia, that there'll be increase in participation in soccer, but increased participation full stop in women's sport. But I talk about Femmi a lot and I talk about what we do and the impact that your cycle can have on your training. Lots of my friends like will go to the gym or they go to like Pilates a lot or they do other stuff, and being able to turn around to them when they're like, yeah, I just felt really, really crap today. And being like, yeah, but where in your cycle are you? And they're 3 days out from their period. I'm like, that explains it. I can think back to time periods where I was particularly tired or particularly some other way that wasn't just like gung-ho. But I can also remember those periods of time where I was having issues with my cycle at the time. And so those moments do line up. Learning all of that from my coach has meant that I'm able to approach like the couple of days from my period with like, give myself a bit more grace. when it comes to, not feeling 100%. I'm not blaming myself or not blaming my body for not performing well or not feeling good. It's taught me how to treat my body better, honor my body in that time because she's doing a great job. Having to take like 2 to 3 months off after having surgery on my foot, it really helped me like reevaluate why I was running and what pressure I was putting on myself and why I was even doing that. Why do I run and why do I force myself to run when I don't feel good? Like I think this year is genuinely the most fun I've had running kind of since I started. Like I literally couldn't ask anything more of my body at this point, and I don't know, something has clicked. For modern women's sport, it's a really safe place for anyone who is, LGBTQI+, anyone who is non-binary. And I guess it is because it is being built now, like the building blocks are in place now. And a lot of the backing has come from those queer communities who started a lot of these women's teams, came from these queer women. Playing sport is one of the best ways to make a community. And I think Femmi has done that incredibly. Like just creating this community that feels safe and inclusive and welcoming. And so many sports haven't been that in the past. Like so many women have felt excluded and left out. Women's sports should not be having to prove ourselves. But if we have to, then like we are showing them in every single way.